Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Hachi. Do you read me? Over.
Pacho, this is Con Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah!
Get some. Hurrah. What's going on, everybody? Another week is almost done and over with. Baby Friday is upon us, or Friday's Eve, as I also like to call them. We're looking for, we got a great show put together for you tonight. So, but before we get started, why don't we just get all the logistics and all that good stuff out of the way? This show is brought to you by Primerica. Let me ask you all something. Have you been preparing, or like to put some money away and would like that money to grow? Now's the time to do it. While the market has been tanking, and a lot of people is also, getting rid of, dumping their stocks, their crypto, all that good stuff. You should be greedy right now and buying stuff and putting money away on a good return vehicle like a mutual fund, an IRA, if you're self-employed, and all those good things, that they've been generating for the last almost 100 years, because next year mutual funds turn 100 years old. So they've been averaging between 8 to 12%. That means that your money doubles about every 6 years. Compound interest will be your best friend on this versus on credit cards. So what does that mean to you is that, hey, if you roll over your old 401k from a previous job, you have $50,000, and you roll it over onto a Roth IRA, 401k onto a Roth IRA, that bad boy is going to keep growing in 6 years, 12 years. That money's compounding, and the more you add, the more it'll grow. So I highly recommend give some folks in the Primerica right there on that link, give them a call, send them an email, and schedule a no commitment meeting. At least you get a financial needs analysis done out of it. Well, they'll paint you a good, put together a good blueprint for you to get out of debt and show you how you can save money with what you currently make or have in your bank account. Also, this show is also brought to you by Castle Global Services. At Castle Global Services, they have an array of different things for your home or commercial business. Anything from credit cards all the way to security systems. One of the best products I think that they have now, it's called a Health Share or Health Impact. With Impact, you can pretty much have affordable medical plan for yourself and your entire family for less than $400. There's no network providers that you have to see, no partners, none of that stuff. You can see anybody that you want, and it doesn't have to be provided through your employer. So that means that you don't have to pay. If you leave that employer, you can take this stuff with you. You don't have to pay Cobra Gold and the crazy prices in between jobs and all that other stuff. And another great thing about it is that there is no enrollment period. You can roll in this thing anytime. So pretty cool stuff. Check them out, castleglobalservices.acnibo.com. It's all right there on the show bio as well. And in addition to this, it's also brought to you by the great Constitution in the United States of America. So freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, all that good stuff. And if you like the show, stick around, like, follow, subscribe, pass me around like a joint at a party. Or, if you don't like it, perhaps check something out too from SitchRadio.com. And, like the Todd DeBow Show, I podcast that from our director and owner of Sitch Radio. And as well as the Aaron Siebert, the Chief Siebert Show, which is Combat Vet Vision. And last but not least, this show is brought to you by the VA.
This is a message from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. If you were exposed to toxic substances while serving in the military, a new law called the PACT Act may make you eligible for additional benefits and care. The PACT Act benefits veterans of the Vietnam era, Gulf War era, and post-9/11 era who were exposed to toxic fumes, burn pits, Agent Orange, radiation, and other environmental hazards. Survivors of toxic exposed veterans and veterans who served in specific countries in Africa, the Middle East, and Southwest Asia are also potentially eligible. Learn more about the PACT Act by going to va.gov/PACT or by calling 1-800-MY-VA-411. We at VA are here for you, and we're ready to get you the care and benefits you've earned and deserve. I'm Mike Richmond.
Thanks, Mike Richmond, for that public safety announcement. Anyways, getting back to the show. Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's good to have you here on our show today. Today I was kind of thinking. So, for those of you, I mean, I've mentioned it before. Um, I've mentioned this in the past that when I was in the Marine Corps, I was one of those believers that, hey, you had to be PT, every day, thrash your body the Marine Corps way. Uh, and all that good stuff. I mean, I used to be hardcore into bodybuilding, weightlifting, resistance training, among many other things that, when you're in that type of environment, you swear by basically. Saying that, hey, this is like the Mandalorian. It is the way, right? But as the saying, it's true that saying goes, your body keeps tabs or your body keeps count. Over many years of working hard, playing hard, going to the gym, doing all that good stuff, and basically doing crazy runs, all on utilities or boots and utes, fatigues for those of you who are in the Army, all that stuff. I mentioned cumulative trauma because I'm in the safety industry. Over time, that's going to take a toll on its body, just like the person who sits at a desk every day, all day, typing away, doing that stuff. You have over many years, things like ergonomic injuries or repetitive motion injuries like carpal tunnel, wrists, and all this other stuff. So, anyways, for the last couple of years, I dove deep into just doing yoga. And believe me, I was one of those guys that, I mean, I used to, I guess you could say judge, criticize, make fun of, anybody that used to do yoga. I thought it was the biggest hoax on anything. But I did have a former friend of mine or an old acquaintance of mine, and this guy was about 10 years older than I am, but the guy's pretty limber. Um, and he always used to do hot yoga, and I tried it once, and I thought it was pretty cool, but never really piqued my interest. But as I've gotten more as I've gotten older over the years, I had to find different ways to get my PT on without really beating up my body, because I mean I can't run any I cannot run anymore. I mean my one of my legs is almost bone on bone, and I've already been told that, hey, if you don't slow it down or find some other alternatives, you're looking at at a knee replacement here in the very near future. So that's the last thing I want. Although joint replacement has come a long way. I mean, these things last about 30 good years. Obviously they're going to tell you 10 to 15 doctors because obviously for liability purposes. But I mean, the lifespan of a joint, if you don't, overdo it, lasts pretty long time. But that will put me, in the age range of, my late 70s, early 80s, and now I would have to get another replacement, which I'm basically fuck that. I don't want to do that. So I had to find alternative ways to exercise, and I was lifting, even though I wasn't running and trying less impact. The more weights I lifted, I ended up having shoulder surgery, so I'm all beat up. Is the bottom line, but I'm not gonna let that slow down. And I'm not gonna put those thoughts in my head, because that's once you start buying into that narrative, when shit goes downhill. So I had to find alternative ways, and I love beach, and again, I'm not advertising for these guys, but I think it's a great app, great venue. Beachbody.com. I got that member. I used to be that guy that I used to buy the DVDs. Tony Horton, great dude, by the way, huge military supporter. And I forgot the dude that does Insanity and stuff. Anyways, So I started doing my first introduction to yoga was through P90X, and I mean, pretty challenging. It was a good workout. It's 90 minutes. I thought, man, this shit is way too long. So, but anyways, the app has gotten better. The members, now it's basically videos on demand through the app. And I started, about in 2020. In 2021 when I was in Qatar. I mean, I had to find different ways of exercising because I wasn't really getting, the exercise that I needed, and my body basically, and I was paying for it. Physically, I just felt sluggish. There was some gain weight, um, and in addition to that, I needed someone to help me with my mindfulness and everything. So I started checking out this whole yoga thing, and it actually was pretty good stuff. I mean, back in the day, and I think some of you, who I know personally, and are some of my followers listen to the show. Those of you who know me, that I grew up being, my mom was a choreographer when I was younger, and I grew up dancing and doing choreography and gymnastics and all that stuff. So I mean, I was flexible. I did martial arts, so flexibility. But over the years, because of lifting weights, you kind of you put your your shift focuses on different things, and you lose some of those abilities that you had when you were younger. So anyways, started doing this whole yoga thing, and I pretty much got gained, almost all my flexibility back, and I felt my range of motion just getting a whole lot better, when I stand. And unfortunately, my job now, even it requires me doing more administrative work more than I would like as a safety professional. I would much rather be out on the shop floor, doing my thing. But in different jobs, different requirements. So, but I was thinking this week, and like, man, I've been doing this whole yoga thing, and I noticed like, oh wow, my flexibility is pretty much back. My kicks are getting up there again because I do some, again, all through beachbody.com. I do this MMA style, it's kind of like Taibo of now. It's got MMA mixed. So shout out to Billy Blanks back in the day. So, but anyways, my kicks have gotten higher. My flexibility is pretty much back, and I was like, okay, well, what are the, let me dig. I don't know why, but I should have done it a long time ago. But are there any scientific benefits of yoga that that are out there? Any articles with some backed up resource data, that I can chew on, or even relate to you? So one, benefit number one, which is pretty cool. I mean, it benefits your sex life. So this research was done in India with dudes who had premature ejaculation problems. How old am I? Anyways, PE. They call that PE. Hey, disclaimer, I don't have that problem. I know I just set myself up for a million fucking jokes on the on my on my program feed here on the show. But anyways, they did a study for 3 months, and they had two groups. One, a control group, and they were given medicines, and the other group, they told them to do yoga for 3 months. So the group that was actually doing yoga reported that an improvement in their timing, according to this article, this medical journal. So, it does have its benefits. Why? Because obviously you're working, and not only you're working on your, there on your mental side, but also on the physical side. I mean, you're working. It is a pretty, even basic yoga. It is a pretty. It gives you a good core workout, especially when you start getting to the more deeper stretches. As you're progressing, you're doing those squats where you're working on those your perennial muscles and everything, and those joints in your core. Obviously, that's going to uh, help out with hey, when you're being intimate and with your significant other. So again, I highly recommend. That's a great benefit. And I was like, when I read this, I was like, oh no shit. So pretty. I thought it was pretty good. Also, you'll be more productive at work. And I do agree with this because one, when I was in the Marine Corps, I hated working out in the mornings. yes, it was part of the job. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Unit PT. I fucking hated it. It's not me. As a matter of fact, I like to work out, or when I used to lift, weights and things like that. Hey, right after work, go to the gym, maybe go on a short run, and then go to the gym, pump out some iron, boom, I'm set for the night. I go to sleep, blah blah, repeat. But now, I've been doing this again for going on, 21, 20, yeah, going on, 2 years now straight, and it's part of my morning routine. I mean, I get up at 4 a.m. in the morning. I walk, PFC taps for about a mile, then come back, do my yoga. If I don't do it, my morning is not right. So according to this, it says that one, it does help, because of the simple fact that you're working on your mindfulness, and we've talked about meditation before. Uh, because of mindfulness innovation, it can improve well-being and as well as issues with productivity. So you're a little bit more awake and alert as you're doing. Once by doing this, obviously you gotta get some in a routine and do more of it, not just once. Obviously, just like anything else, the more you do it, and the more you train this along with your body, it just becomes muscle memory. It also reduces stress. On a study published in the journal on the Journal of Immunology, it found that people who did yoga, it suppressed the activation of certain genes that create inflammation. Obviously, inflammation in your body is no bueno. It's not good. And I know you've heard me talk. Dr. Joe Dispenza, along with Bruce Lipton, and the other guy's name is I'm drawing a blank right now. So, but these three guys, and they said that it's already been scientifically proven that you can have the gene for cancer, you can have the gene for whatever, but it's what you do and not only on your thought process, but as well as and the environment and what you expose yourself that are going to activate those genes, for you to have those ailments. So obviously, by doing yoga, it helps suppress and decrease those genes, and as well as inflammation, because inflammation is your body is no good. I mean, that leads to pretty much other issues that can activate those genes, and that's pretty much when things start going downhill. The other thing is that this thing, it also helps improve sleep. There was another study done, and people who did yoga had reported fewer sleep disturbance and fell asleep quicker, which I do. There are periodically, about every once in a while, because I do, in addition to yoga, I come home and I do other things, other exercises that help me build that serotonin before going to bed. That but periodically I'll do. There are yoga, and you can look this up on YouTube. Again, I recommend the Beachbody app. It's you got to pay a fee. There's another one called Asana Rebel, which is it's a yoga app as well. Those things, you can check them out, and there are yoga routines, 10-15 minute routines that you do before going to bed, which, because your body is going to be laying there, you're pretty much laying there in a certain position. Yeah, your body randomly switches position in the middle of the night, but you're still laying there, not stiff, but in this one position that when you move around, when you get up, I'm sure that anybody here has felt that when you're getting up, you kind of feel like, everything's kind of like slow and stiff. And you feel kind of rusty until you kind of get going. So that's why it's good to stretch and lightly stretch and get your mindset relaxed and going. And it also helps relax. That it helps you fall asleep quicker. I highly recommend too piggybacking, that exercise routine with a night or sleep meditation. Again, there's plenty. Again, and I'm not advertising for all these. These are the ones that I do. These are or I use, and these are the ones that and I pay for those memberships. But there's plenty of one. Calm is a really great one. They have some amazing sleep stories on there. One that's Winnie the Pooh. That one I think is one of my favorites. My wife's favorite as well. I like a British voice. So Eva Reeves, she's an actress. She has some phenomenal sleep stories and meditations on so in addition to that, it also helps your respiratory system. So for those of you who I myself I'm one, who suffer from snoring and sleep apnea, it also helps with that. So I thought that was pretty cool in regards to that. So and my sleep apnea and snoring has diminished over the last couple of these last 2 years that I've increased doing this. And last but not least, obviously going to improve mobility and posture. A while back, I had read an article, so I can't remember where, but even a naval doctor recommended, say, "Hey, have you thought about doing yoga?" And I was like, "Psst." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, not." But yeah, it's good because as you age, again, already studies have shown that you know your your muscles do decrease, but it's not a whole lot. It's what you do because we get we become sedentary. Oh, I'm retired, I don't want to do shit, I'm not supposed to do shit. No, that's bullshit. It's all in your head. But um it does, doing yoga, it does help with one, it helps by countering the you gotta, for those of you who do bodybuilding, lift weights and all that good stuff, you got to counter that, resistance training with some mobility training as well. So it helps because I'm sure those we've already worked out, and the next day you're super sore, you're kind of achy and stiff. Well, that day you should be doing some type of yoga to counter those effects, and it helps to become a little bit more limber. And another study that was done in a journal, uh, the Strength and Conditioning Journal found that a group of healthy adults who did actually hot yoga for 8 weeks experienced increase in lower back, hamstring, and shoulder flexibility. So again, these are things that after you lift weights, your shoulders are stiff the next day, your biceps. If you do legs, your legs are sore and stiff. So again, and you ever seen that guy at the gym that just kind of can't move? You don't want to be that individual because again, you want to be limber. And as we get older, we become more stiff. So it's super important that you have good flexibility on your hips and your joints for mobility purposes. And the more you age, and on the safety industry, your gait, the way you walk, your feet drag, that your feet usually drag between a quarter of an inch from the ground. And as you get older, that gap gets smaller and smaller. And this is why you have an elderly folks who kind of walk shuffling their feet um, due to lack of mobility, and that they end up falling, breaking hips and joints and their shoulders from the falls and stuff. So, and at that age, the likeliness that you getting better from any of those surgeries it's much less. And this is why some people end up you know unfortunately passing away or having some serious health complications after those major surgeries. So you don't want to do that also. So another thing that I was kind of thinking is, so growing up in Colombia, Colombian people, well, I don't know, maybe I don't know how it is in Mexico and everything, so I can only relate, or other Latin American countries. But I know growing up as a kid, hot water was a fucking commodity. um, you know, me- back then, not now. I remember at my aunt's house, we used to have this hot water heater, and that thing used to sit. Let's just say, right. Let's just say that this is the shower, and that thing looked like like this huge metallic barrel. It was a hot water heater. Obviously, the house was a lot older, but it had this huge freaking thing, and then with a shower head sticking out of it, that I think you could even get electrocuted from this fucking thing. But anyways, hot water was a commodity because every time, I went to school in the city, but summers, vacation, all that stuff were spent down at the farm, with my dad cattling and such. So no hot water over there. It's cold showers. So for the most part, a lot of Colombian people, they take hot showers, 2 to 3 times a day. So I was thinking, I'm like, and I see now, if you follow, I follow this guy on Instagram. His name is Wim Huff, and I've been seeing on my increase on my Facebook feed as well that ice plunging or cold submersion therapy, and obviously athletes are doing all this stuff nowadays. I'm like, fuck, I've been doing that since I was a kid. God damn. And but it's true because I do know people out in the ranch in the farming area, I mean, these people live a long freaking time, and you see elderly folks who should be basically, that we see here in regular suburbia with a cane and just kind of on a walker or the little electric carts and shit. But out in the farm area, and I'm sure it's the same thing here in the United States. In those areas, you see elderly folks in their 80s and 90s, herding cows, walking miles. In Colombia, out on the farm, you see old people carrying shit on their head, balancing stuff off. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, they live well into their 90s. I mean, and some of them well into their hundreds. So I was looking at, well, what are some of the benefits? And obviously, it increases alertness. Well, yeah, take a fucking cold shower, and you can be like, oh my god. So but again, I'm thinking back as a kid. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to go catch the school bus. So, but according to this article that I read, as well, the previous article was for Men's Health in regards to the yoga stuff, and then this one, but it increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, elevated respiratory rate. Obviously, those are things that when you jump in a cold shower, you do all these things, but it's only momentarily, obviously. But in regards to when you feel all those things, but yeah, I mean, who's not fucking awake after you're taking a cold ass shower early in the morning? I mean, Jesus Christ. So, but it also helps you, with a stronger immune system. There's another study done by it's called PubMed, which is I guess is a very reputable website or journal. 29% of people who took cold showers. I mean, people who actually they did a study on about 3,000 people who took and out of those people, wide range, hot shower, cold showers. But out of that group, there were people who took cold shower were 29% less likely to call in sick to work. Although I love calling in sick to work, even though I'm taking cold showers, I'm like, fuck this, I don't feel like going to work today. But that, which I thought was pretty good numbers. It boosts your mood. I think so too. You feel a bit more. Again, you're all alert. You're more woke. You're woken up, not woke, because nowadays that means something completely fucking different. If not, ask Disney. No pun intended. Anyways, but yeah, you do feel a lot more. The reason for it boosts your mood is because obviously it helps with the availability of your neurotransmitters. So increases like your endorphins and your the word is norepinephrine is what it's called. So basically it increases your endorphins and all that good stuff. Now the counter to that is, all I'm saying is that if you're an individual like I've been there before who takes meds and all this other good stuff, hey, it's not going to supplement meds. In that case, talk with your doctor, talk with your health advisor before you start weaning yourself off of your meds. Because hey, I'm going to take cold showers. I don't need medicine anymore. No, talk with your provider and then go from there. I'm sure you can come up with an action plan or try other things. Again, these are just things that I've been doing over the years that have helped me out. But obviously, working with my providers at the VA as well as Stryker and such. And it also says that cold showers help with quicker cooling after sport activities. Which growing up as a kid, I remember my grandma used to say, "Don't take a cold shower after you're gonna get a brain aneurysm." Things like that. But there's plenty of already. Sports celebrities and athletes, you see them that after they hit the game, they game hard, they'll do cold plunge plunging therapy because it does help with reduces the inflammatory inflammation in your body as well as exertional hyperthermia. So it's hypothermia and hyperthermia. That means that when you're overheating and such, that it helps reduce that, and obviously inflammation and all the other things. Because again, if you're one of those guys or gals like myself who works hard, play hard, you want to look for alternative things as well. So, and this was done this article was on News Today by Rachel Null, And you know, the main thing with all these articles, and when you're reading something from the internet, uh, over the years, I've learned that, hey, you know, how long was the study? How long was the study done? How many people and such? So, hey, if you had a nice control group, like over, you know, like the first one I read was about 3,000 people, and if it was done for a year or 10 years, then now you have pretty good solid data that you can go, and then also take into consideration who did the study. You know, if it was a neutral group, then it adds more weight to that study than listening to somebody like, you know, like the tobacco industry did a study, and smoking actually benefits, you know, blah blah blah. Obviously, you know, that's a one-sided study saying that, hey, smoking is good, is actually not bad. So you got to see who it also comes from as a source, and then you could make your own best judgment. But uh you know, those are the kind of things that I was kind of, you know, hey, it is the field op, you know, this kind of the things that we used to do on the field, just bullshit and just think about, you know, things that I'm like, hey, is this actually true? As I was educating myself, I'm like, oh, no shit. Well, there is that. So for me, the end take out of all this is that I'm going to start doing yoga when I'm taking a cold shower. No, I'm just bullshitting. No, so I've seen the gains of and the great things that it has helped me with. You know, with my flexibility and my range of motion on the shoulder that I had issues for about 2 years. I've had some great gains, and I'm back at doing pull-ups. Not as many as I used to be, you know, like in the Marine Corps, but pull-ups are pull-ups. And at this day and age, it's all about cruising and maintenance. So, and you know, keep doing the cold shower thing. Not that a hot shower every once in a while is not going to help. So, but you know, I just want to leave you before I get out of here. And you know, I want to leave you with this thought. And you know, my wife got me this great calendar right here, and it's got some pretty deep, you know, meaningful thoughts that I started kind of posting them on some of my groups, some of the people that I work with. You know, and today it's kind of, it makes sense. Your time is limited, so don't waste living someone else's life. And that was said by Steve Jobs. And what did he mean by that? Is that, you know, we're so busy, you know, living this facade or trying to portray something that we're not, just so other people say, oh man, your life is so great. I see what you put on Facebook and blah blah. Not just, life is too short to be impressing other people. The only person you got to impress, if that is yourself. So live life to its fullest and live life for yourself. So if you've been, and before we get out of here, if you've been ruminating and kind of, you know, depression, ruminating thoughts, and or just the world is weighing upon you, reach out to our show. Let us know. You know, we'll try to we'll do our best to put you in touch with somebody, or call the VA, call TRICARE, Military One Source, Suicide Hotline. There's plenty of things out there, because the bottom line that while doing 22 push-ups a day in support of veterans awareness and suicide, it's not going to replace you. It's not going to replace those folks who made that ultimate decision to take their lives. And then we're the ones, you know, those of us who stay behind are the ones who end up asking ourselves the questions and living with that burden. So, anyways, that's it for today, everybody. Thanks so much for your time. I just want to say, you know, we're gonna go ahead and end Dex. Hoorah! Get some ice to us, Daisuke. Now, baby.